Hello everyone, I am Biniyam Getaneh. In this presentation, I will give you some profound insights on the title A Soft City and the Making of Streets. The discussion is mainly based on the book Soft City by David Sim, which aims in contributing some effective ways in building density for everyday life. The discussion themes of this presentation are: first, the feature of a soft city and different arguments inside it. Second, the soft city versus the mobility of Addis Ababa. And on the third part, we will see about the human dimensions and the making of streets. Here, soft city standards and case studies will be presented. It's known that global warming, congestion and segregation, and rapid urbanization are the three biggest challenges facing the world in the 21st century. For many, any change to do with the planet, people and places can seem like a threat to their way of life. And David Sim argues a soft city could be an approach to tackle this global problem because it embraces the opportunity to engage with the planet, people and places. All peoples, regardless of their physical, economical or social status, are invited to interact with their surroundings, moving from their homes and workplaces step by step outside into their neighborhoods and into the wider world. One of the arguments in the soft city concept is cities are not a problem, rather they are a solution. And the current challenge of increasing urbanization is in fact an opportunity to make towns and cities work and perform better, to get most out of cities as a places of beneficial interaction and platforms for connection. Some principles should be adopted, from large scale to small scale, from open spaces to enclosure, from stacking to layering, from standalone to joined up, from monofunctional to multifunctional, and the last but not the least, from spread out and drivable to concentrated and walkable. The other argument is neighborhood is not a place, it is a state of mind. Neighborhood is a state of being in a relationship between people with a planet, people with a place, and people with people. And different cities in the world understand this and try to create habituation and coexistence among the city and its inhabitants. As you can see in the scenes of different neighborhoods, peoples of different ages, ability, social and economical status, enjoying and socializing on their distinct neighborhood because it's the immediate environment they could find when they get out from their home. Here, the streets play a major role in initiating activities. The main taste of this book comes down into simple equation. Density with diversity creates proximity, and with proximity, the space of urban environment can be translated into time, with the convenience of being able to do a wide variety of things in the same day, in the same morning, or even in the same hour. We know that infrastructure cost per capita decreases as density increases. This will also create a higher efficiency, higher degree of sociability, feeling of belongingness, and cultural and commercial activities will thrive. So let's see some of the mobility features of Addis Ababa and how the light rail transport and the streets are performing regarding the principles of soft city. Just focusing on some of the aspects, it seems nearly all of the human dimensions of mobility are compromised. Well, let's see how the installations of the fences have hindered the people's movement and economical capacity. Nearly 27 crossings have been provided on the 39 points that are preserved on the rail station, and this creates quarrel among the officials and the inhabitants and traders. The officials say we are providing this to protect accidents from happening, but on the other hand, inhabitants and traders say they prefer jumping in order to cross the roads because the difference between the two zebra crossings is around 800 meters on average, and the day after fences were installed, the number of customers who visit us significantly decreased, said the traders. As you can see from the pictures below, the complete car-oriented development leaves poor sidewalk conditions and reduced provision and inaccessibility of bike sharing. The long line queue waiting for the taxis or the buses to come and the traffic congestion are among biggest challenges for the commuters in their day-to-day lives. When we see the figures, nearly 7,000 people injured every year, and 1,700 people lose their lives in mobility accidents. Even if most of the people use walking and the share of private motorized vehicles is low, the traffic congestion is high, especially in the peak hours. This shows us there is a problem in mobility in transport planning. Returning to one of the principles of soft city planning, it is the human dimension in mobility. Mobility starts inside buildings and it connects different moments in everyday life through walking, cycling, scooting, public transportation, or other forms of transportation systems. Small movements around the neighborhood for crossing the street, getting our bike to the bike lane, and waiting for the bus. All of these small movements using different forms of mobility are opportunities for sociability and invitation for people to connect with each other. The making of streets should prioritize pedestrians, for example through continuous sidewalk, which allows safe, smooth and uninterrupted walking, and also providing kiosks or any commercial or social activity in the central districts bring a sense of security for the pedestrians. The other feature that can be seen in most vibrant streets is that they engage the pedestrians in different forms, from transparent facade to the whole ground floor extended use. This could be applied in integration of the streets with the ground floor uses of roadside buildings. The other feature that could be incorporated on the making of streets could be living with weather. As more and more people live in densifying built environments, the importance of spending time in outdoors, encountering natural phenomena, and learning to live closer to the seasonal cycles of the weather increases. Everyone does not necessarily need to have their own garden, but at least they should have access to a range of outdoor spaces and experiences, from a window box to a roof terrace, and from a balcony to a public park, or from sidewalk cafe to a tree-lined boulevard. These well-designed streets can bring them closer to nature and help them live better with weather. Integrating cycling in mobility design not only provide a non-motorized transport system, but also protection for pedestrians from motorized traffic. Even if the rate is slow, we are experiencing growth in cycling around the world. Since the bicycles came in different sizes, from tiny child-sized kick bikes to big cargo bikes, and there are also other small wheeled phenomena like skateboards, roller skates, and kick scooters. The mobility paths should be designed in a holistic and universal manner. The design of streets may differ according to the standard, the context, the function, and the speed limit. According to National Association of City Transportation Officials, in less than 30 km/h speed limit, the car and cyclists can share the same or different lane, but in greater than 30 km/h, the cyclist should be protected using different systems like providing buffers. From 30 to 40 km/h, they should be completely separated, designed, and may be contextualized accordingly. The last but not the least that should be considered on the making of streets is the proportion and scale of the built environment and open spaces. Generally, a street corridor with a more vertical proportion gives a more intense urban feeling, whereas a street corridor with a more horizontal proportion gives a more relaxed feeling. As you can see from the picture, a street corridor that has tall buildings on both sides, a relatively narrow roadway, and minimal sidewalks will give the feeling of higher intensity. More intense downtown streets corridors are taller than they're wide. Let me conclude my presentation with 2 points. First, the modernist planned city leaves us with congestion and segregation because these separated zones and functions create a huge need for transportation to access assets needed to live a full life. We need to restructure our cities from zone city to a compact city. And the urban mobility is also about social mobility. And the business of getting about connects you not just where you are going, but also the places you pass and the people you meet on the way. Therefore, the designs of mobility should incorporate the physical and behavioral aspects of the design. For more information, you can read on the link below. I hope you get some insights about the physical dimensions of mobility and the soft city concepts as well. Thank you for your attention.